Well, there's all kinds of different tests with COVID-19. This one is new, interesting. We're talking about a sniff test. Arizona State University researchers have been working on. Anita Roman is live at this hour with details on what this is and how it would work. Good morning, Anita.
Good morning, Celeste. I can tell you from personal experience, people who I have spoken to who contracted COVID-19, the one most common symptom was the loss of taste and or smell. And so this is Professor Rick Gherkin. Good morning to you. So fascinating. In the past couple of months, you've been working with conjunction with other universities to create a sniff test.
That's right. So we were trying to develop essentially a scratch and sniff test. It's very cheap. You can use it every day, every week, very easy to use, very easy to distribute, and instant results that would give you an indication of whether or not you might have COVID-19. It won't be quite as accurate as the viral test that you're used to, but as you said, so many people, such a large fraction of people with COVID have severe smell loss that it can be very, very diagnostic.
Yeah, we ran a story a couple weeks ago saying if you can't smell your morning coffee, then maybe perhaps you should be a little concerned. So this is what we don't have the actual physical scratch and sniff card, but this is what it looks like. So explain to me what we're seeing here.
Yeah, you could think of it kind of like a lottery ticket, but it's scratch and sniff. So you would scratch one item, or actually would peel it back and you can reseal it. You'd smell one spot, let's say number one. It's going to have some odor, some fixed odorant, like a rose smell, for example. If you can smell that, you move to number two. If you can't smell it, you move to number six. And there's an app that comes with it from scanning a QR code that will guide you through the process. Once you've done 4 or 5 of these steps, it will be able to tell you about how well you can smell. So you can think of it like the eye chart or the hearing test, where you increase the size of the font for their eyes, or you change the volume of the sound for the ears. It's just like that for smell. So
it's strategic then when you're guiding people from 1 to 6 to 7. What's the strategy behind that guidance?
Yeah, the strategy, it's called a staircase design in psychological testing. The idea is that when you get something wrong, you make it easier. When you get something right, you make it harder, and eventually find where it's just hard enough that it's really hard for you to do, but you can just barely do it.
And you have an example here for me, so tell me what this is.
Yeah, these are 3 different odorants. It's actually 2 concentrations of the same odorant, and it's 1 different odorant, okay? And so there are different kinds of tests you can do. One is you can change the concentration. You can find out what is the lowest concentration that you can smell. Another is, can you pick out the odd odorant out of the group? Which one's different from the others, okay? So
let's do the odd, since I did test it earlier to see. So you want me to smell them.
That's right.
I'm going to pull this down so I can smell better. Okay, that's the faint one, I believe. Okay, that's a little stronger, but it smells exactly the same to me. And that's a little stronger.
Yeah, and that one is a little bit different from the others.
A little different. It's not as pungent as that one.
Yeah, it's a little sweeter smelling.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually, these 2 are 2 concentrations of the same molecule. One is more dilute than the other, so it's harder to smell. This one is a different molecule. It's actually the mirror image structure of this molecule. This one smells like a mintier smell. And this is more of like a caraway.
That's exactly what I was going to say, minty. So you used these, for example, to develop that test.
Yeah, we use, on this test, we're likely to go with a rose odor. It's an odor a floral odor that many people are familiar with. Very few people who have intact smell are unable to smell it. They might not be able to say what it is. And the important thing about this is this is independent of language. They just have to, is it there?
So the hope is then to create these sniff cards, make them available to the general public so they can easily in the morning or before heading to work or perhaps to the gym or an event, they can do the sniff test, lift a little sticker, and they have a little bit of an idea of whether they may have COVID or not.
That's right, and these can be produced for about 20 cents a piece, so you can burn through them very quickly. You can hand out a stack at a community center. You can bring them to an area that's underserved by traditional healthcare infrastructure, hopefully make a difference.
Of course, everyone will want to know when and where and how would they be available.
So there are going to be commercial variants of this available through Amazon very soon for the odor identification test, where you smell it and you have to say what it is. We're developing this odor threshold test. It's more like doing a hearing test or an eye chart test. That will probably be something that we're testing now, and we'll probably be having out in just a couple of months. To get FDA approval to say that it's a diagnostic is another story. That is another process, but that's something that you could just use to diagnose to assess your own smell, but without making a formal diagnosis is something you can do much sooner than that.
Pretty fascinating. Thank you for your work. Just a couple of months they were able to create that card, you guys, and then and hopefully sooner than later, right? A couple months you can have them at your disposal, literally 20 cents a card, and then assess how you're doing with the COVID.